Hi everyone, a serious game for you today for the more competitive viewers of you out there. I'm playing Prepaid Kit versus HB Engineering the Future. This Prepaid Kit deck is a bit different from the standard Prepaid Kit, I'll tell you why in a minute, but first, my opening hand. This is usually a keep against Astrobiotics because you have an early Astrolabe which will draw you lots of cards over the course of the game, a bit of money in Dirty Laundry, and most importantly, you have Lady and Sai Sai, which means that if they attempt to go for an early sneaky Astro script behind Wraparound or Enigma, you've got them covered. And of course, Diesel is always the first click to play. There's no reason not to play a Diesel on your first click. You always do that even ahead of a Sure Gamble or any other money card. So Diesel is such a great card. This would be an instant keep against Astrobiotics, but against HB I think it wasn't the right choice because I wasn't in such a big hurry to break through servers. Now here, with my last click, I clicked for a credit instead of playing Dirty Laundry because I wanted to save the Dirty Laundry to go in conjunction with the early Data Sucker that I drew. So this is efficiency right here. This is why Kate is so good. Between her ID ability, the prepaids, and yeah, you just get so much efficiency, it's ridiculous, and you really want to exploit it to the best of your ability. So here I do an Astrolabe draw because of his new remote before Dirty Laundering Archives for 3 credits and a sucker. Alright, so that's fine. What will you do here? You know that there's an Eve and Breaker Bay grid in the remote server. You can go down to 2 credits trashing the entire package. That might be a good option. For me, I'm not very comfortable with doing that given that he's already on 11 credits. That means that he can easily exploit this window to score an agenda or something. So I feel safer building up my board state by drawing 2 cards. This will bite me in the butt later on as he ices up the Eve server. So now there's no question, I'm not getting in. Especially not with so little money. And here at this point, I ask myself, he has drawn maybe about this is his 3rd turn, so he has seen at least 8 cards from R&D, possibly 9 or 10. I'm not sure exactly how many he drew so far, but say he has seen 8 cards, which is the bare minimum. Agenda density is 0.4, which means he should have seen 3.2 agenda points by this time. 3.2 maybe in the form of a global food initiative, or maybe two pointers such as ABT of Vitruvius. I want to perform a legwork to sweep those 3.2 points. So here I play a dog in case it's an Eli, and then I make a legwork through. With 4 credits left to spare, I hit a Viper. This was my biggest mistake the entire game. I could not afford to tutor a Sai Sai with the SMC. That would bring me down to 0 credits. I wouldn't have the 1 credit needed to break the subroutine. I was 1 credit short. So, biggest mistake here was installing the dog. I got very greedy. I thought that I wanted to install the dog from my hand so that I can lose cards from my hand, so that I can gain space to draw more cards. What I should have done was to just blind legwork, and if he resists anything, I'll react to it with SMC, which I could easily do. By installing dog, I lost myself 4 credits, which was the difference between me hitting the legwork and missing it completely. And I needed those extra credits, obviously, because if I stole an NAPD, even if I hit an NAPD, I wouldn't be able to steal it. So this is nasty, and this really set me back very heavily. Now I know exactly what deck my opponent is running because we are both friends. We talked about this deck before in our local capacity. So I'm not going to. So that's why I installed the Film Critic basically. I wanted to give it a shot. I knew he was running 3 NAPDs. I wanted to see if Film Critic can really dampen the tempo hit from stealing NAPD. So here I get the most hellish draw you can ever imagine. No money except for a Dirty Laundry which finally appeared on after digging through a third of my deck. So now I actually have some money to work with, but it's a bit too little too late. At this point, I cannot afford to trash the double Adonis, even though they're sitting naked on the board. If I do, I won't be able to play the quality time from my hand, and I won't be able to get any money at all. So I install a Sai Sai naked blindly on R&D. Mostly because that's going to be my attacking server of choice. Now that I've lost one of my 2 legworks, I don't think HQ is very appealing anymore. I could hit HQ for single accesses, but that would mean committing a Sai Sai to HQ, and I don't want to do that for obvious reasons. Sai Sound HQ means one less Sai to contest his scoring remote or R&D, which is bad news, considering that there are more Maker Sais in my deck than legworks left, despite the number of genders he might have. And now that he's using Jackson, he's probably clearing agendas from his hand, so HQ is dead to me. I'm going to go for money, and my quality time draws me to Dirty Laundry, Lucky Find, Sure Gamble, but no prepaid voice pairs. I could play either Lucky Find or Dirty Laundry right now. Not efficient. That would cost me prepaid credits, but I don't think I have a choice here. So instead of playing my money cards, which would go well with the prepaid that I have installed, I play the Stim Hack, which will allow me to make the fullest use of what I have at SMC. I don't need to keep SMC on the board to threaten Claude. He's not running Sense City Grid. I simply Stim Hack in to see at EG 2.0 and get a Mimic out while on the way. The brain damage hits the Diesel, which is not the worst loss in the world, so I was good with that. And yeah, this actually went very well for me. So basically, I basically set up my board. I have all the breakers I need to get through R&D, and even with a 3 data circle counters, this means that I can get through any code gate, any barrier, and any sentry up to Archer's strength. I just need enough money, which I will get very soon with one of my 3 white cards in my hand. The trouble is, I'm not going to poke R&D for single accesses. If I'm running R&D, it has to be a Maker's Eye run, or at least an indexing. With a Jackson protected like that, it's going to be a bit hard. But I'll do my best. So I start with a Dirty Laundry to accumulate even more sucker tokens. This is arguably not the most efficient use of Dirty Laundry. I could be Dirty Laundering R&D instead to gain money and see a card. I think that would have been a better play in retrospect. What I should have done was to play Lucky Find. But in any case, playing Dirty Laundry has one benefit here. It allowed me to have a 4th click. Instead, Lucky Find would take away the 4th click. With my 4th click, I'm able to install the Sai from my hand onto the remote. Because, as I said, the HQ is dead to me. The only other place I want Sai on is his scoring remote. And judging by the fact that he's placing 2 eyes on it, he wants that to be a scoring remote, I better have my Sai ready to go. So, from this stage on, since I have a single prepaid, my tempo should be play a money card, run somewhere, I guess, and if I have extra clicks left over, I should be drawing cards. What I'm looking for right here is a Maker's Eye or an indexing, which I haven't found yet. So this is a mistake. Instead of drawing cards, I'm running his server, which is a big problem because this is going to cost me a lot of money just to see one card. This is definitely a mistake on my part. I should not have done this. I should be drawing a card. I guess my rationale here was that I wanted to save the card draw for next turn where I would play the quality time. Pretty questionable. One thing I could have done was pitch the levy. I didn't want to pitch anything from my hand. I saw the Heimdall from R&D. I know he's gonna play it. I know he's running 3 Eli's. I want to have the second dog in my hand, because I know that it will come in handy. So a bit of a mistake on my part. I shouldn't have ran R&D. That cost me 6 credits. Yeah, it cost me roughly 6 or 7 credits. 6 credits. Very expensive. And quality time here brings me down to 6 credits, which is not good. I was on 14 credits once, and that was a very good, healthy credit amount. Now I'm in kind of a danger zone right here. The quality time doesn't draw me any money. If I play the gamble right now, I'll get 5 credits, and that's all the money I'll have to deal with for a long time. Not an ideal spot. So yeah, running R&D to see one card, bad idea. You want to make us eye in. Now here I was actually plotting something else. Do you notice what a good play that I can make soon? I'm going to run Archives for my last click, even though there are no face-down cards in Archives. A good court player might know what's coming and purge, because yes, now that I'm pitching Parasite, I want to Parasite the Toll Booth on R&D. I know I have a Sai directed there already, but I do not want to be paying 5 credits every time I make a side through. So, he installs something in the Breaker Bay Grid server and clicks for credits, I believe. So here I Parasite his Toll Booth, and on my first click, I do not play the Maker's Eye. I was in 2 places about this, but I eventually decided to just do a normal run first, hit the Toll Booth, destroy it, and jack out. Then perform the Maker's Eye run. Can you see why I chose to do this instead of just going for one straight Maker's Eye run? The reason I did that was because if the card in the Breaker Bay server was a Cyberdex virus suite, I would have no way through to R&D because I overrode the Cyber Cipher that was on R&D to install the Parasite. I was short on memory. Aha! So if I play the Maker's Eye there and he rests the Cyberdex to trash to prevent me from parasiting the Tollbooth down, not only would the Tollbooth stay up, more importantly, I would lose my Maker's Eye, and that's a huge loss. I can't afford that. So, he has a massive scoring window here. With only 2 credits to my name, I cannot contest the remote server. No, that is completely false. I can. I can stim hack using same old thing. This is something you have to be aware of as the corp. If there's the same old thing and they have played stim hack, they already have brain damage, you should be prepared for that. I chose not to do that because I only have 1 dog token. I know that there is a very good chance there's a double barrier on the remote, and I do not want to stim hack futilely into a double barrier with only 1 dog token. If I had 2 dog tokens, I would have gone for the stim hack to steal whatever agenda it was. In this case, the global food. That would have been a 5-point swing, that would have been key. Stim hack changes the scoring windows a lot, makes it a lot less safe for corps to score like this when they have no upgrades available. That was a very risky play by my opponent, but it paid off. He read the board state right. I did not have the capacity to break through with dog. If I had scavenged, things might have been different. But now I have a scavenge, I could perhaps make that play now. After some draws, I now do find myself with a lucky find, so things should go smoothly from here. The lucky find will bring me to 15 credits. That should be enough to do most things. And the scavenge will refresh my dog. So here I play the same old thing. After playing lucky find, this is quite important because I have no maker size on legworks in my hand. I want to be able to do stuff. Again, I can't be running for single accesses on the central servers. It makes no sense. Here, he arrogantly tries to go for the agenda in the remote again. This time, I'm not going to let it pass. I'm going to get double dog out because I'm worried about barrier spam. And I just go straight in. With 13 credits, I feel like I don't need a second stim hack here, and I don't want to lose the last card in my hand. The levy that I've been keeping since the start of the game, I kept it there for good reason. I know my opponent's running a glacier deck, so I want the levy at hand. I don't want to waste the same old thing on it, because the same old thing is needed for more important things like Maker's Eye and legwork. Plus, if I stim hack and I lose the levy, I only have 7 cards left in my hand to play with for the rest of the game. With 0 agenda points in my pile, that's not a good idea. So much talking. Let's see how the run is going. Double barrier indeed cost me 3 dot tokens. Assassin cost me all my suckers. I was fully expecting an Ichi 2 at the end of the server, at which point I would have to use Sharpshooter to conquer it, but it turned out to be a lowly Turing, which I could break with Sai for 2 credits. So the Sai on the remote did pay off, even though I didn't know what was on the remote. Here I'm doing a money count. I am short of 2 gambles and 1 lucky find. With 7 cards in my deck, 3 of them are money cards. This means that I should not levy. I should draw through my deck until I find all 3 money cards, play them, then I'll levy. So that's good. At least I've triple prepaid, and they will be generating some good cash in time to come. I do have an NAPD. It is on my film critic. I do not have the time to deliberate it now. I'll get to it when I can. I draw into a Maker's Eye, and that's quite key. So I'm going to start charging up sucker tokens here and prepare for the Maker's Eye run on R&D next turn. In the meantime, he scores a never advance ABT. You cannot risk running that remote just to see an Adonis. So I didn't run it. It could be a mistake, but that's the thing with HB never advance shenanigans. It's so powerful once the corp has money and is able to rest stuff like Heimdall against you. Okay, enough talking. I'm going through with my Maker's Eye plans because R&D is so much easier to break through. Halfway through the run, I quickly realized that I left my Sai in my bin. There's no Sai on R&D. I need to fetch it to break the toll booth on R&D. Thankfully, my opponent pointed it out to me, and after some clone chip shenanigans, I get through. Cost me 1 dog token. It's a fairly cheap server to get through, although it does nearly bankrupt me, and I see 1 global food initiative. So far I've made 2 Maker's Eye runs, and I've seen 3 points worth of agendas, which is kind of on parity. 6 times 0.4 is 2.4, so I expect to see 1 agenda, which is what I did. Unfortunately, it's only worth 2 points to me, because Global Food Initiative is a pain to steal. Or rather, it's not a pain to steal, it's a pain because it's only worth 2 points. So this is really, really awful. Glacier decks, especially HP, are so good right now with global food because having to steal 4 agendas instead of 3 changes the entire dynamic of everything. I'm not at match point yet. I still need 2 more agendas. It's a long, long way away. Because usually at this point, I'll be all Hail Mary with the indexing, making 2 Hail Mary runs, probably an indexing into a stim hack to fetch the last agenda to win the game. If I were on match point right now, that's exactly what I would do. I would index, and then same old stim hack or something to that effect to close out the game. But I can't do that right now. Playing indexing would bankrupt me, put me in a very bad position. But I think I have to do it, because if he ever top decks an agenda, he's gonna slot in the remote and I can't afford to contest it, because it could just be an Ash or a Caprice that would waste all my money. I'm way too poor to contest that remote, and I only have 3 dog tokens left. So here I go with my indexing to R&D lock my opponent, who has spent quite a few Jackson Howards throughout the game so far. I don't expect him to have any in hand. These are the 5 cards I see. So the ice go on top. I want him to draw the ice first. Then I see 1 agenda in the ABT. I cannot top deck the ABT and then run it again next turn. Next click. I do not have the money to run through his server again. Or do I? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could have. Could I? I don't think I could have. I was 1 credit short. Yeah, it's quite. I mean, I really don't want to bankrupt myself to steal the ABT, but that might have been the right call. I think what I should have done that turn was to index first click, followed by same old stim hack. Very risky move, because if the stim hack hits my levy, I'm done. But I think that was the right call, because by playing Lucky Find, I leave. Okay, it's very hard to say. I think both ways it would have been roughly the same. Somewhat. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I guess Lucky Find was the right call after all. Yeah, there was not much I could do there. The ideal situation would have been to index and then take the ABT off him, leaving him with 4 cards that would do nearly nothing. The Caprice is a problem though. Here I was in a complete bind, because what he did during his turn, after I finished indexing him, was to draw 3 times. So he basically dropped the ABT along with 3 irrelevant cards, and I knew the top card of R&D was a Caprice Nisei. So, if I don't do anything this turn, and he gets his turn, he will top deck the Caprice, he would place both the Caprice and ABT in the remote, and I'm done. There's no way I'm going to win that. So I need to fetch the ABT from his hand. I played first click Diesel to find my scavenge, and I realized that this deck's only running 1 scavenge. So I think that's it. I'm done. I could use same old thing to scavenge or side onto HQ, but this would leave me with no same old thing to legwork. My plan was to legwork with same old thing after scavenging a side to HQ. I couldn't do that, so I played gamble, got the NAPD off, and he won the game, because with the ABT in hand and a biotic label, he was able to score out for the win. No clots here, and no clone chips anyway. So that was very unfortunate. So at times, I mean, there was more than 1 occasion on this game where I was exactly 1 credit short. Ultimately, HB's taxing ice proved to be too much for me to handle. I'm gonna do something slightly different for this video. Instead of doing a post-mortem on the entire game, I want to rewind to the penultimate turn, where in the game, I chose to index after a Lucky Find to see 5 cards, one of which was an ABT, one of which was a Caprice, putting me in a tough bind that eventually lost me the game. Could I have made a better decision at that point in time? So, looking at this diagram, some important things to note. From this point on, I will take my credit total to be that of my credit pool plus the number of data sucker tokens I have. This is because there are no Cyberdex virus suites in play. I know I have to suspect that there might be Cyberdex in R&D, but let's discount the possibility of that for now. So looking at the photo, I have 4 credits and 1 sucker token, so I'll take it that I have 5 credits to work with. I have the same old thing, which can fetch me, most notably, Maker's Eye, Stim Hack. Legwork is not relevant here, because if he had agendas, he would have won by now. You must remember that one of my Maker's Eyes runs earlier saw a Biotic. So I should know that there's a Baltic label in his hand. If he were to find a 3-2 agenda, he wins immediately. R&D costs 8 credits to get through. Again, this is a combination of credits in hand and sucker tokens. So let's look at the what should I call it? The possible tree for of line of action for this turn. I start my turn with 5 credits, and during the game I took the second route, which was Lucky Find into indexing, but I did not make the yellow play, which was to gain 1 credit. So let's look at each of the possibilities. One of the possibilities I considered throughout the entire game was same old thing Stim Hack. I knew that I never had enough money to work with. Stim Hack would solve that problem. Of course, Stim Hack is actually overkill for that server. I wouldn't need to use sucker tokens. In fact, I would actually gain 1 sucker token after a Stim Hack run. The problem with same old Stim Hack is that it costs 2 clicks to get roughly the same amount of money as a Lucky Find would, which will also cost 2 clicks. And the Stim Hack would lose me the levy, the indexing, or the Lucky Find in my hand. So this is why I chose to Lucky Find in the end, but that might not have been the best choice. So the main reason I wanted to run R&D on that turn was because he freshly unlocked R&D for me. The previous turn was a Maker's Eye, if you remember, which I saw 3 cards, one of which I stole, the Global Food Initiative, leaving 2 cards on R&D. My opponent subsequently took a mandatory draw and drew 1 time, so R&D is now fresh again. So I need to lock R&D. I don't need an indexing on Maker's Eye, I just need a Stim Hack to make sure the top card isn't an agenda. So I Stim Hack in, and if I use the Stim Hack, if I lose the Lucky Find, that's the worst case scenario, because now I have no credits left. I'll have 6 credits left, which means that my only possible line of play thereafter is to levy, using up my prepaid voice pad credits and 2 of my own credits to see 5 fresh cards, and losing the indexing from my hand. So this could be detrimental. If I don't see any R&D digging cards, I'm done. So this is the worst case scenario, the rightmost scenario, if the brain damage hits Lucky Find. If the brain damage hits anything else, it's fine, because my following play would be Lucky Find to get me up to 15 credits. I would have successfully locked down R&D, and the next turn I would be able to index him if the levy got sniped by Stim Hack. I would index him, and that would possibly allow me to fetch more agendas from R&D. Because with 15 credits, I can actually make 2 runs on R&D, which could win me the game. I don't know. It's quite hard to say. On the other hand, if indexing is the card that gets sniped, I can levy the next turn, which would draw me 5 fresh cards to work with. Very hard to say what happens from there, but that's a possible line of play. After looking at that, perhaps Lucky Find is the right choice after all. One play I could have made that I didn't really consider was to Lucky Find, followed by a same old thing Maker's Eye. Instead of playing the indexing from hand, I straight away sack my same old thing for Maker's Eye. This would basically completely negate the amount of credits I gained from Lucky Find, bringing me back down to 5 credits, but I'll get to lock the top 3 cards of my opponent's R&D. I did not like this line of play, because, I mean, it is a possibility, I'll admit, and if it nets me 2 agendas, I basically win the next turn because I can liberate NAPD from Film Critic. The problem is, the chances of me hitting 2 agendas in a Maker's Eye run is very low given his low agenda density. Moreover, it puts me in a very bad spot, because next turn I'm basically forced to levy, and I'll lose the indexing. I cannot afford to use the indexing from my hand. And if I do levy, it means that I'm levying, I'll go down to 3 credits and use all my prepaid voice pack credits. This puts me in a very bad spot, and this basically gives me my opponent 2 turns to break R&D lock, find the winning agenda, and win. I don't like that play. Indexing is better because it allows you to lock the top 5 cards of the opponent's R&D as opposed to the top 3 for Maker's Eye. In a situation like this, where both sides are competing, where I'm as the runner am competing to deny my opponent any sighting of the agenda, indexing is key. This is not NBN where you have to worry about fast track. Against HB, indexing is actually pretty good, even though it really sucks having to run twice to steal the ABT that was at the indexing. My misplay came with what I did after the 3rd click indexing. With 7 credits left, I couldn't afford to run R&D. There's nothing I can do about that. But what I should have done was to click for 1 credit and get up to 8 credits. If I had seen this and if I had known that I could bring myself up to 8 credits, which is exactly enough to allow me to rerun R&D the next turn with same old thing Maker's Eye. Don't forget, this route of play, the second column, leaves my same old thing open to use next turn for Maker's Eye. This means that I could index him, place the ABT as the 5th card, Caprice as the 4th card, and proceed to Maker's Eye him next turn. Now, I couldn't have possibly predicted that he would overdraw with his next turn. If you remember the game, for the next 3 clicks, he basically draw. And that got him the ABT, because I put ABT on the 4th position. Had I put ABT on the 5th position, my next turn could have been liberate NAPD from Film Critic, followed by Maker's Eye. Prepaid would pay for the Maker's Eye. I would get through with just enough credits, with no credits left to my name, and I would see 3 cards, one of which is a guaranteed ABT. 2 cards. If I find an agenda among those 2 cards, I would either steal it for the game, or it would go on Film Critic. I think that would have been my best shot at winning the game. And if I didn't win at that point, I would click, levy, and the game goes on as usual. But I think that was by far the best chance of me winning the game, because it would allow me to lock the top 7 cards of R&D, and it would have given me the best shot of winning. I didn't see that play, and that is why I put ABT on the 4th position, because I estimated that most corps will usually draw twice after an indexing. But I completely underestimated my opponent there, and I paid the price because the ABT went to HQ, which proved to be impregnable because my opponent was way too rich and I had no side to break through the Central Viper with. So the same old thing was there for the legwork, but the breaker just wasn't there. So I hope you found this analysis very interesting. You would think that I made the best play at that point in time, but I could have done my indexing better. If I saw this line of play, I could possibly have won the game. I just needed to click for credit and wait for the next turn to strike for the ABT by placing the ABT as low down on the indexing tree as possible. Well, thanks for watching and happy net running. Hope this was informative. Goodbye.